We continue in Psalm 84 with verses 8 through 10, where we learn that the lowest station in the Lord's house is better than the highest position among the godless. Verse 8 of 84 reads, O Lord God of hosts, hear my prayer. Give ear, O Lord God of Jacob. Selah. Selah, you'll recall, is a musical rest. O Lord, that's Jehovah, self-existent. God of hosts, that's Elohim. Almighty sovereign God of heaven's army, hear the prayer of this psalmist that he may find a place among his people. Here are two distinct thoughts of great and practical value to the Christian. Prayer is not restricted to the sanctuary, like David in his banishment, who called out to God, Hear my prayer, spoken with a sense of God's divine majesty, as he is the Lord of all that is and all that exists. Yet he is the God of infinite mercy and goodness, able to interact with each individual that seeks him out. He is able to save even those wretches like you and me. He is the one and the only Lord God Almighty, pure and set apart in holiness, mercy, and justice, accepting all who are born anew, reconciled, spirit-filled, and being sanctified into his family. God does not consider the worldly sacrifice of fools, nor does he hear the feeble excuses of the unrepentant sinner who does not fear his court of justice or the declaration of his wrath against all sin. Verse 9 of 84 reads, Behold our shield, O God, and look upon the face of your anointed. The Hebrew word anointed here is the word Moshiach, and as in the English word Messiah, it applies to a consecrated person 37 times who is anointed, and to the Messiah twice. Born-again Christians are also anointed with the Messiah's shield and should have the confidence to know that the Father will look upon us with a love similar to that which he looks upon his Son Jesus. Verse 10 of 84 reads, For a day in your court is better than 1,000 outside. I would rather stand at the threshold of the house of my God than to dwell in the tents of wickedness. The lowest station in connection with the Lord's house is better than the highest position among the godless. The psalmist writes, I would rather be a doorman standing at the threshold entrance to the tabernacle, even without the privilege of entering that dwelling, but still near the presence of God, than to dwell in the tents of the wicked. Now, to common folk like me, it almost sounds like a hyperbole. However, David was a king and familiar with all the splendor afforded royalty. Yet he says, I would rather be a doorkeeper, even if he were only allowed to peek in. Barnes writes in his notes, God's worst is better than the devil's best. Dr. McGee added to that, the sanctuary, as we saw in the book of Leviticus, was the very center of the life of Israel. There was a day when the church was the center of our social life in our country, but it's not there. It's not even a religious center today, as it should be.